like I said, Zach, I felt like he had a great show the other night with Mike Nell.
Oh yeah, yeah, I watched it. Yeah, he did definitely.
It was cool to have them two different styles.
Yes, they were too. Yes,
But that's what it is. I mean,
well, that's what it takes. Everyone can't be the same person and think like.
But it worked. That was a nice
That's
thing about it.
correct. That's correct.
They're both kind of similarly oriented about doing the right thing.
They just have a different way to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, if in this situation too, on all parties, I mean, it is everything's so different.
Yeah,
different roles.
There is. There is. And a lot of people don't understand the difference between county and city. And even in city, you can have instances where the mayor's strong or the mayor's weak, depending on
the form of government.
Yeah. And so.
Yeah, I mean, I learned about city managers.
Yeah.
And D'Iberville's that way.
That's correct. That's Mr. Weaver, Bobby. Good guy.
Yeah,
Bobby
and then
Weaver.
you have Rusty's been there for a long time, but it's a whole different power. You got Paula, was it Paula Yancey? Paula, she's Gaucher.
Okay, yeah.
So she's city manager Gaucher, and you got Casey as the mayor.
That's right.
It's a whole different ball field.
It is.
Versus, like say the Ocean Springs mayor or the Biloxi mayor, Fofo and them. I'm excited about this. Let's go into this.
Yeah, I still have all the time state legislators tell me people back home ask them how's things in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make the distinction between Jackson and Washington.
Right.
Out of town.
it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it's understandable.
All right, guys. If I'm gonna hit this little intro, I'm gonna hit my little intro. We got Dan Cuevas, Harrison County Board of Supervisor 1. How you say it? I try to mimic how you talk sometimes.
Yeah, District 1, yes.
District 1?
Harrison County Board of Supervisors, District 1. I represent District 1.
It's like, I mean, and we can always say this. I always say this about you. You're that walking tall for me. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
We offer home, auto, commercial, builders, reps, and life insurance.
Oliver's Guide.
Oliver Shots Insurance.
All right, guys, we are here in the OG studio.
Looks good.
Yeah, we got my stepdad Scott over here. 45 years in the industry of government relations, or I call it AKA lobbying. You can call it whatever you want to call it. And then we got Dan over here. Worked for AT&T for years.
Still there, yeah.
Married a weather girl. We all know Carrie Duncan.
That's right.
She's a beast. But you came on before and you shared the story of like how you just wanted to get into politics over change.
Correct.
It wasn't about paycheck. It wasn't.
No.
It was about, helping your community.
That's correct. It was getting involved. And it kind of goes back to being, instead of being a nice guy, being a good person. And the person that I turned into and developed into manhood was that I wanted to be able to help more people. And that was an opportunity for me to reach a lot of people that could be helped. And there was people that felt that there was a change that they wanted in that district. And so I felt that I could be that change. I could take on that priority and be that guy. And so I just grabbed the bull by the horn and held on for the ride. I didn't know anything about campaigning. I didn't know anything how to do it, signs. I learned it all as I went. I just did it on my own. I stayed up late at night, did my research, and formed a plan and just followed through.
Do you remember how many signs you had? Were you like a Mike Nell where you just moved your signs around?
No, I didn't move my signs around. Actually, yes. I want to say I had roughly of the small signs, I had about 280. The big signs, I believe I was pushing the bigger ones, 35. And what I did was I learned this as well as I took Google Maps and I figured out how to overlay locations. And so I had all my signs mapped out on Google Maps, and I had pins where every one of my signs were. So I knew after this was over, to be a responsible candidate was to go back and pick your signs up. And so I knew where every one of my signs are to make sure I went and picked those things
And
up.
where are the signs at now?
They're at my house in my shed.
You have you been all right, so you're in here. Okay, we got Donnie Handler's in here already.
Donnie, yeah.
Uh,
Shout out to Donnie.
so let's say you won. The first thing you did was increase wages.
Yeah, so that we came into the budget year, and that was a big thing. Pizza parties and the attaboys and all of those things, they're great, but people just want a pay raise. The pat on the backs are good, but the money, the raise is what makes a difference in someone's home. That could be the difference of them maybe going on vacation, or the difference of them going out to eat one night. Those are the joys that a pay raise can bring. And so, yeah, it's great to, what they say, pizza parties in the corporate world, where you get everyone together and you have a pizza party and, you're doing a good job. Those don't go as far as giving someone just a flat out raise. And so when we got to where the employee pay, that was in my mind was, what are people making comparable to what others are, not only inside the county, but outside of the county. And you can't help but think of how much is bread, how much is fuel, how much is rent. And so when you start looking at the pay scales that were lower, you're like, there's just no way. It's hard. I can't imagine. And so that's where we got together, because it takes the board. It's not just me. It's all 5 of us. And that's where we gave the people that were on the bottom, lower end, bumped some of them that were not at 15, got them up, and then gave them a bigger percentage raise than others. Because that's what makes a difference in people's homes, is the amount of money that comes in. That's it.
When did this raise go into effect?
It was last year. It was for the 2025 for this year. Yeah.
Okay. So since you've been in, have you noticed a difference with the pay raise?
Yes. Yeah. There, a lot of people has reached out and appreciated it from the board, appreciated the raises and the recognition, to know that there was something there that may have been missed in previous years, and that things have gotten harder. And so we recognized that those raises needed to be moved up. The pay needed to be moved up on top of the raise that they would have gotten. And so they really appreciate it, which that's what it's about. It's about making a difference in someone's life. That's that simple.
That's pretty dope.
That's a significant raise for those lower level folks.
Yes, sir. It
Raise
was.
them to that level and then give them a raise.
We did. We raised them their pay to a level, and then we gave their raise for the 2025 year. We gave them that raise for that year. Yes, sir. Yeah. And again, it takes the board, and let all of them, Marlon and Rebecca and Nathan and Kent, it's great working with them. I mean, I really enjoy every single one of them. We're all going in the direction that's going to make the county better. Every day we wake up, all of us are trying to do something to make things better. And so I've really enjoyed working with them over this past year.
How do y'all have like a little group chat or something?
No, sir. We're not able to, which that's part of it. No more than 2 of us can be together at any moment, at any time. So we can't eat lunch together. No more than, because 3 of us can't be together. And that's just the open meeting act. So we can't be on group chats together, group text messages. We can't be on anything that there's just more than 2. So if right now, if we were all 3 supervisors, technically we shouldn't be together discussing anything. And so we're not able to do that. And I'm really a stickler by the books. And so, but most of what we do, it's talked out right there on YouTube. You go watch the board meetings, and when we leave those board meetings, we don't it's all left right there on the mic for people. We don't talk about or do anything that's not on that mic. And I would never. I mean, if someone has an issue, I want them to come in and come to the podium and it be on be on YouTube and it be recorded. You know, if there's something we need to discuss, it needs to be there. It needs so that the people can see it.
Have you ever been? Do y'all ever get in like little heated matches with the mics?
No, not really. No, we're all good when it comes to where we're at with different things. You know, some of the hard things that it seems simple, but the hard decisions you have to make is because the law, when it comes to property damage. So if you're driving down the road and they're weed eating on Highway 90 and a rock flies up and hits your car, the statute says unless they can prove negligence, that we're by law can't pay claims that we were just flat out was negligent. And so if we have our signs out and you have the guards on your weed eaters and you're doing everything you're supposed to, sometimes those claims get denied, and those are tough. But you know, we didn't set that standard. We have to follow it. Because if it's found that we weren't negligent and the Board of Supervisors pay the claim, we are personally responsible for could be criminal, and also the financial part. Personally, we would have to pay the money back out of our personal bank accounts.
That had to happen to me.
Yeah.
Diaryville.
Right.
I was at the gas station right there by the neighborhood Walmart.
Yeah.
And one of the workers was weed eating, and I think he was nervous to say anything, but the supervisor caught it.
Right.
I was going to my car, and my side window was busted out.
Oh yeah.
And he was trying not to say anything, but the supervisor's like, "You need to go tell him." And he was like, "Hey man, I'm so sorry." The supervisor came up, it's like, "I'm so sorry. You mind driving to Dunaway? We have an account. They'll get you fixed right up."
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, and those are hard. And if you go back and look at the meetings where we have those are just tough. Those are the tough ones, you know, because you have to follow the law, and sometimes, you know, in those cases, you're just like, you know, it's not that much money. We could, you know, we can, but then, you know, we get reminded by the board attorney that, you know, if there's no negligence, you could, you know, this could come back on you.
Personally
And
liable.
yeah,
Exactly.
so those are tough. Believe it or not, that's the toughest ones for me, because in my mind, you know, where I come from in the corporate world, if we've messed something up, then, you know, it's on us. We're going to make it right. We don't have legislation and things that tell us what to do and not to do. So when we have something like that, I'm instantly like, yeah, we're going to make it right. And so, they're tough. If you watch some of those meetings, when it comes to those, they're tough on all of us. All five of us are.
Do you get those frequently?
Or
Or people kind of figured out that the law only allows certain types of claims? And they don't come as often?
they're in the summertime, because we're doing more grass cutting. It seems like that we do get, you know, some of those. And now look, there's been some there was negligence that we could be proven, and we've paid those. We've done right, and we've honored them and done what was right. But usually when the grass cutting season, that's where they come.
It's kind of hard not to mess up a little bit with, you know, I mean, there's certain areas where, I mean, them roads have a lot of rocks.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's all in the grass. And I think that's what that boy, when he hit my car,
Yeah,
he was in the grass.
that's right.
He wasn't even in, like, I mean, I guess there's, you know, because there's a lot of asphalt and gravel that gets mixed in Diaryville.
Yeah.
Do you all right, so you got, you know, how about like the whole pothole? If you hit a pothole and you break a rim, is it true that it's on the city?
Well, in the city, I don't know so much in the city, because the roads are maintained by the city. So if someone did have that happen, they would go to the city. My take on it, my personal take, is if there's a pothole out there and we've been notified in the county about a pothole, and it's documented, where they've called in and we've documented the pothole, and we have failed to act on it and go out there and do what was right to repair it, and someone does then I think that's negligent. We failed to do our part, and then we should fix and repair that tire. Yeah,
Yeah, the notice is the key part in all that.
that's correct. That's it.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. If we were notified and we failed to act on it, that was our negligence. We should have went out there. And then I've got another problem. Why wasn't it fixed when we knew about it? See, now it's a twofold problem for me because you knew about it, we didn't fix it, so that's a problem. Yeah. On top of somebody's car's damaged. So, you know, but our road department, they do great. They're on top of everything. You know, Tim and his guys, you know, they don't offer any excuses. They just get after it, you know.
Scott, you've been around here a while. How for like, let's say the board of supervisors in the county, how hard is it? You know, do they get like, is there grant money too that goes towards y'all's projects?
You can apply for them, yes.
Yeah, and of course, you know, because the legislature just went through a process of not sending the local grant money. That they it's not the only source, but those that they controlled, they decided this last session not to do those local area projects, which can be millions of dollars for the, because there's several pots of money that are out there, and when you add them all up, I mean, you were mentioning before we started the Sand Beach project, and how much that is. Well, obviously, you had to have help for that from somewhere.
Yeah, and so I know a lot of people have been driving up and down the beach, and you notice that, you know,
You gotta talk a little louder. Mom's in here.
the beach, the beach is basically eroding away. And after so many years, you go back and the Corps of Engineers pump sand back in, and it's supposed to be like 250 or 60 feet from the seawall out is what is maintained. And so it's due. And so we've followed up with Corps of Engineers to get that project going. The total project is hovering around $65 million. That's how much it's going to cost to do the full 26 miles. Our match, the county's match for that, was 16 to 18 million was what our match was on that. And so that was our Go Mesa money that we pledged to get that work done. And so that's what we're using. And unfortunately, you can't use federal money to match federal money. We found that out because Go Mesa's federal money. And so I believe I'm saying it right, Go Mesa. So the federal money, so we end up having to do was get a bond. I say a bond, it's not really a bond, but we got a loan for our 16 to 18 million dollars, and then we're just paying it with the Go Mesa money because that was what we had to do in order to pledge that money.
So, but that made the use of the money that way.
That's correct.
Clean by using it through the
That's
loan.
right. And so what we've done was all five of us said we're not doing anything long term. We're not. So what we signed, we did a 5-year deal on the money, with no penalties for paying at all. So, you know, we're going to get that knocked out quick. And then of course the beaches, before the end of the year, the Corps of Engineers should be out there. You should see the dredging machine and the water and the sand being pumped back up on the beach before the end of the year.
How often do you have to do this?
There's some maintenance periods, but a full-fledged like we're doing now, I think it's every 15 to 20 years is what it is, that time frame, depending on how the maintenance goes during, the years prior to that.
So that's good. I mean, wow.
Yeah, it is. It's just a big ask when it comes, when it comes due, it's everything goes up. So the next 15 years, it could be, could be 20 something million at that point, or the match for us, who knows?
Hey, real quick, Mom, do I sound all right in this mic? Can you hear me in this mic? Hello. Okay. Do I sound all right in this mic? Where's the other mic, Scott?
Oh, down here. Hold on.
Justin, can you hear me on my mic? Or is this mic better? Oh, this one's way better.
Okay.
Whoa. Yeah. This one.
Yeah, I can see it moving up.
Whoa.
You back in business.
Let's see. All right. This one. Yeah, Justin, I know you didn't want to get on the show with us. All right. Let's see right here. Yo. Okay. That one's a little. Bring that one down a little bit. Hey. Yo, what's up? That one is way better. This one's, yeah. Well, we don't have that one hooked up now. So I think this is, guys, we're just trying to do a little testing, get back in the old groove of things. Thank you, Justin. All right, Mom. How's Scott sound? Say something, Scott.
Okay. Am I good now? Can you hear me now? Or do I just need to increase the volume a little bit?
Let's talk to you, Scott.
Okay. How about that?
Scott,
Is
sound better?
that better?
We need some feedback. Great. Okay, Mom.
Okay.
Thank you, Mom.
Good deal. We're back in
Good.
Do you know who Justin is? He's okay. You know that ain't true. Everybody sounds good. Well, I mean, Justin, you could have been here tonight with us.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you could have been right here with us.
I'll take a rain check. Bring Justin back. Get on here with Justin. He's
Yeah.
doing an excellent job. I mean, I can tell you, I go to work. There's some mornings I go to work at 6:30, and I pass by the courthouse, and Justin's truck's already there. He's doing an excellent job. So if you listen, Justin, you're doing a great job. I appreciate what you do.
Have you ever met his dad?
Yes.
That dude's goated.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Mark is probably one of the. He's got a lot of your like O'Reilly's forever.
Yeah.
He was so proud when Justin won. He's like, I'll go like because he helped Justin. Him and Justin were in it, and he's like, I'm so proud of my son. And he just got that old school mentality of like,
Yeah.
if you work hard and you can have good investments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been with the company a long time. Mr. Mark could retire right now if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He can, but he's just that guy. It's like you get excited to go to O'Reilly's and see Justin's dad.
Yeah.
That's the best part of like driving to his location.
Yeah, that's the O'Reilly's I go to. That's my O'Reilly's. That is my O'Reilly's. That's one I go to. You touched on it, which I really thought about that today, which is you talked about how proud Justin's dad is of him. And I never stop thinking. I'm always thinking of just 100 miles an hour, driving down the road. My mind's going 100 miles an hour. But I asked myself, so what do you get out of this in life and what I do? And I came to the conclusion that I want to be known for my kids as not being a nice guy, but a good person. And then when I'm not here and my kids meet people who knew me and that are still alive, that they get to hear that I was a good man. I was a good person. And to me, that's all I want is for my kids to know the person that I was or am. That's all I want.
I think we're similar on that when it comes to my
That's
foundation, Carter's champion.
Yeah.
I was like, I want Oliver to be like, my dad didn't give me a bunch of money, but my dad stood for this. My dad fought
Right.
for this, fought for the Sands, or fought for anything I can see an issue with. Like I kind of want to get behind somebody.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, you're Trey. I met him in Jackson.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce his last name? With the Wesson?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured Nathan Barrett would be here. He's in Jackson right now.
No,
Yeah, we're trying to get him on. I like Trey a lot.
oh, yeah.
Super sharp. Have you met Trey? All right, we got Carrie came in here.
Oh, she did.
Let me tell you what, it doesn't get better than Dan, the man. He's such a great guy and a good partner to his community, especially Diablo. And we're thankful to have him.
Yeah, I mean, real and look, that's Mike Nell was here, and I reached out to Mike, and and in the chat with Mike, I put in there the fact that I need all of them to be successful, and what I mean by that is all the city councils, Diablo City Council, Biloxi City Council, the Gulfport, all of them. I mean, I represent District 1, but ultimately, us 5, we all make decisions for the whole county. And if those city council men and women and mayors are successful, that means that the constituents are winning. They're getting something out of it. And whatever the county can do to help them be successful, that's what we're supposed to do. I mean, that's our job.
Like, let's say like the Captain Planet situation where you got to put all your stuff together. You're winning fire.
Right. Because we
Earth?
have, we have, there's things that we have at the county that we have on in house that we can do to help. Sometimes they may buy the material and we do the labor, but we all work together to the Hiller Park. That's one of them with Miss Sherry Bell. I met her over there. We built that. The county built that splash pad many years ago, and she needed help. The rings under the ground had rotted, and the water was squirting out. That was the problem. The rings were losing water under the ground, and I met her out there, and we sent the county working with Bayer, and we sent people over there, and we're trying to come up with a solution and fix it. But that's an example of us working together.
Yeah, that effort to get all the communities to work together has been ongoing for a number of years.
Yes.
If you remember, Mayor Hughes came up with this one coast concept,
Right.
which is still out there and people still talk about it, but resulted in periodic meetings among the cities and that kind of stuff. So that, because at one point in time, every city was out for themselves down here,
Right.
watched it over the years, and it's a whole lot, it's totally different now.
Yeah. And, and it's a different aspect. The people who live in the cities, what they want and their day-to-day lives are different than the people who live in the county, in the unincorporated areas that I represent. They some of that is land that was left to them by ancestral or their parents or their grandparents. And, they have a lot of acres and homes, and, they just, their way of life that they want and don't want to change is different than the way of life of someone that lives in the city. So navigating those, of course, subdivisions want to creep out, and, people have 2 acres and 3 acres and 10 acres, and they have their land, and, they just, their way of life is just different than the way of life in a city. And so you have to look at it through 2 perspectives.
We're looking into how do you go for some of the bigger projects like the Seaway. You bought the building on the Seaway.
Yeah, we purchased which was Dr. Sangani's practice he had on the Seaway. We purchased that building because we needed to relocate the health department. Health department is currently
But
down
how
by
do you make a
Memorial.
decision to go that big to buy a building?
Because we needed a place to put the health department and get them centrally located. Memorial Hospital needed the building back that they were currently in. It was some kind of deal that was done many moons ago, and Memorial needed that building back. And so we were like, okay, well, we got to have 15,000 square feet or 12,000 square feet. We got to move the health department, and so we have that we're holding on to, trying to find something. And then previous boards, they wanted, in the mental health side, we needed looking at starting a diversion center. And so we knew how the square footage we needed for that. And so we started trying to consolidate people to one building. And that's how we came to where that building was going to be suitable. And it's going to work. It's going to work tremendously. There's property behind it where we can actually build on the back side of it. There's another 4 acres or so on the back. So not only do we get the building, we got land on the back that we can actually expand if we needed to. And so that's what we're currently going through, the remodel of the design for that, because the diversion center, which for those that don't know, the mental health side, the diversion center, I'm not sure if there's one in Mississippi. There may have been one at one time, but and what it is, it's a single point of entry for law enforcement, ambulance services, any EMS, to bring someone who has depression or in the emergency room. Used to, when you picked up someone who was going through a mental episode where maybe they just need their medication, or they're just off and they're maybe talking to themselves. Someone calls in and says, "Hey, we got someone over here who's talking to themselves. Something's wrong." The police show up, and they used to, what they do now is they'll take them and they'll bring them to the emergency room, and then that's where they'll get seen by someone in the emergency room. And so now, well, then the emergency rooms would get backed up, and so that was causing a problem in emergency rooms. And so the diversion center is going to be the single point of entry for those who need help now instead of going to an emergency room. They don't belong in jail. They didn't break any laws, and they don't belong in an emergency room where they're sitting for hours because there's so many other patients in emergency rooms now. And so the diversion center is going to be a one-stop shop for the police department or EMS to bring them in, and that we'll have clinical people there. We'll have beds, or there'll be beds there. So when someone comes in and they need medication or they need to talk with someone, or if they're going through something, they will be able to go to that facility and get the care they need. If they need to be admitted overnight, the doctor, looks and says, "Hey, look, we may need to keep you a couple of nights and monitor you." Then the beds are there available for that.
It's strictly short term,
It is
just
short term
until you can find out where. How big is the facility? What does it handle?
There's going to be, I want to say there's 12 beds.
Well,
There'll be 12 beds.
pretty good. Yeah.
And the initial is going to be like a living room setting, kind of. You're going to have couches and things where if someone just needs to come in, maybe get their medication that they haven't had, and kind of just be there and be around someone and get their medication and get them feeling better, and then they can release them. So it's going to have like a home feeling in the inside. So it's not really like clinical per se. It's kind of like this with couches where people can come and find help.
Yeah.
And that's going to have law enforcement there. Little stations.
Yeah, Pine Belt is our partner with the mental health, and so they will man that facility for us, and they will have security and whatever else is required. But we're excited about that. It's a big investment in the county. We're
How expensive is this project?
That's roughly about $7 million,
But
and that's for mental health.
Yeah.
How far?
And that's in addition to what we already have over on School Barn Road with the, there's other mental health facilities. This is an addition to everything else that, have there's private facilities too, but, this is an addition to all of that.
And it's 24/7.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
problem's been very real
Yes.
with people
Mhm.
winding up in a jail cell because there's nowhere else to put them at the time. You're in the middle of the night. You can't take them over to a private facility and dump them off. You have to, the
Right.
process you go through and all that. So this is a great
Yeah,
facility.
it's a shame, but because they don't belong to jail. I mean, they haven't broken any laws. So, we're excited about that.
I was in Jackson County Jail for like 14 hours, sitting Indian style at an event. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I did get to meet a lot of people. I actually gave my food to people.
Yeah.
This is recently. This is this year, last year. But I did give my food to people. But there's a few people in there that I could tell that there's a guy that got in an argument with his wife. She threw a crazy fit, and he got arrested on his porch. And you could just tell he's exhausted from like verbal abuse.
Yeah.
It's just like he's looking at me. He's not even
Done.
like he's not complaining to nobody, but he's just like
Done.
I was like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. We're sitting in the small little hole, like we're in the hole together. And it was, look, cold AC, no cell phone. It's 60 degrees in there.
Yeah.
Everybody was, I didn't mind it. I really didn't mind it.
You have to meet new people.
Yeah, it was, I got my flip flops.
Yeah.
The weirdest ththing was like, kind of like, coughing and pulling down your pants from a man. I didn't care for that much, but after a while you got used to it. And if you got to pee or, you got to use the restroom, if you're going to do it in front of people. But this guy, like I said, these couple guys, you could just tell, like, this one guy was just like, man, you could tell, like, he had some drinks, but you could tell, like, the way he was telling the story, like, his wife had a lot of drinks too. And then they got in, like, a verbal kind of thing. And he was just, you could tell he was just down.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like, her fault. This is just, like, he was just talking mainly about verbal abuse. And I felt so bad for him. I was just like, man, I'm so sorry. And he got out, but it was just, you see these people, you see the ones that keep recurring.
Yeah.
But I would say something like that with a person that's like having a mental breakdown, and that was more him.
Right.
Like he was just like, he needed somebody to talk to.
Yeah. And that, in that case, if he ended up not going to jail and ended up walking down the street and found himself, in front of the police, and needed help, that's where the diversion center he could
Would
have
go.
went to.
Yeah.
He could have went there and was able to talk to a clinician or a nurse and,
Yeah.
get some kind of help.
But that's
Well, Jordan, maybe they could hire you
but
at the diversion center.
Yeah.
I couldn't hang out, man. Like I said, there's people that were coming off of meth. There's a lot of people that actually,
Yeah.
because I actually, it was, cruising the coast there, and I had an option. They're like, Jordan, you can get out, like you can get out, but it was cruising the coast. You couldn't call anybody,
Right.
and they're like, you want to hang out here with us, or you want to go in the back? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I'll go in the back, and I got my blanket and got my bunk bed, slept like a baby, got up, I had food, and then I was just sitting, because they only feed you at a certain time.
Yeah.
So I got had my bread and my cheese and my ham, and then I was sitting. We have a metal table. I'm sitting around the metal table, kind of podcasting.
Right.
And I have a guy that's got full tattoos with flames. You can tell he was coming off meth, and I'm like, no, to eat, like eat. I'm getting out.
That's right.
Like I'm, eat, and we're all sitting around. And we're all just talking, and everybody's got a story. Nobody's perfect, but
No.
I actually enjoyed having conversations with people and what happened that night, or somebody, battling with, heavy drugs.
Mm-hmm.
There's still people.
Yeah. People's stories are very interesting. It doesn't matter where you get the story. People's lives and what they've experienced everyone's different. So there's a story to tell.
Yeah. And everybody has a little too much to drink, or,
Mhm.
Everybody's got stress at work.
Yes.
And you've seen all them people in there. Like, I could see that in my eyes. Like, they wouldn't really, it was crazy. It was like, it was like, she's seen like the mug shots. She's like, oh my, they're all booked with him. I'm like, but I was friends with him.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the officer. I was like, hey, can I see that pen real quick? She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going to do a teardrop. So I get out the van. I ended up going to, I was there 14 hours, and I got out. Didn't really, I slept all right, and went straight to the Gulfport Sportplex and worked a charity event.
Yeah.
Laughing about it. I was like, because it was the first experience for me to actually stay a little long period of time.
Yeah. So now you have a story to tell.
I do it. But there's a lot of people in there that are pretty nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's some bad apples, but for the most part, there were some really good people. But a lot of it was mental health.
Yes. That's big. That hands down. It's there's I would imagine for someone that's going through, I'll say an episode or dealing with mental health, when you go to find help and you can't find it, for some people, that's their last hope. And so when they break down and they're like, look, this is out of control and it is affecting me, and they want to go look for help. And if it's a pride thing, they just don't want to, but when they do and they can't find it, you may not get that person back. When you miss that opportunity, you don't know that there's a second opportunity. And that's not saying that they're going to commit suicide, but it's just when they get to that point where they're ready to seek help, they just got to be able to find it. I
think it's a great program. I think it's gonna be
Yeah, we're excited about it. I think it's going to be good. We have a meeting tomorrow. Kevin Felcher's a big proponent, help with that. There's more than just a handful of us that are.
And it's on Seaway right next to the jail.
Yeah, well, it's on the Gulfport end of. So when you come off of Three Rivers on the Seaway, it's on closer to that end than the jail. The jail's a mile or two down from that.
Not a bad location.
No, and it's not. We're just trying to find a place that we can put people in, because one of the expenses that you have in the county is the buildings, your rooftops.
Sure.
General maintenance that hasn't been done, and so we've taken an approach where we can consolidate people into one building and starting to get rid of all these smaller buildings. Long term, that's going to be beneficial for the county monetary wise. We're not having to repair 5 roofs, we're having to repair 1. Or you don't have 10 AC units going out, you got 3 or 5. It's that mentality.
How many buildings do y'all own?
Oh man. Tell you the truth, I don't know that I can tell you exactly how many. There's it's not like an absorbent hundreds of them. I'm trying to think of how many it was. I had this conversation with our county administrator. I'll tell you. I'll get that to you. But
It's a good bit.
yeah, it's quite a few. There's some that have just been old. In Sosha, there's a little library that's been there forever, right there by the school. It's pretty much falling down, falling apart. So we've decided to go ahead and just dismantle, demo that, and it's just little small outline ones. Most of our big buildings, there's still people in them, but it's just trying to find out what we have, because then you have insurance. You're carrying insurance on buildings. That makes a difference. There's a lot of savings in trying to get people into one building, and you're not going to get them all. But as much as you can consolidate, they can work together. That's what we're looking for.
Well, you think that project will have office spaces for besides the clinics and stuff, like, could you put in certain jobs for other people that work outside of that, whether it be, I know Gaucher for a while when I was living over there, like they had like their water department was in the city hall.
Yeah.
Like it was just, they're adding stuff. You think that y'all gonna be doing that with the 4 acres? Is that kind of the goal, is to start building and making that a compound that will house most of the Harrison County
Yes.
works?
Once we get it remodeled for the health department and get the diversion center up and running, and to see exactly how much of the square footage the health department really needs. And then if anything's available, then yes, we will. We're going to use every square inch of that building to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck. It's our money.
Oh yeah,
It's our money.
I know.
I mean, it's the county. We all pay county taxes.
But you got 4 acres too, so you can
That's correct.
add more.
Yes. Yeah, we can
do
add.
all in one compound.
Yes, and we've looking to identify if there's any opportunities for us that could possibly build something back there if need be, in order to get more people centrally located.
Is there a rule on the AC though? Like, for these buildings, certain people.
Yes.
So like, someone like, Bill and Jenny King forever. But like I see a lot of these buildings that if they don't own the buildings and it's like a corporate company, they run the AC at all times at like 69.
Oh no, we the employees pretty much run the air conditioning bill. We don't manage any AC controls over any of our buildings from like a central point. No, the only difference in the air conditioning in that building is because you have overnight rooms where people can potentially stay overnight, and so you have to upgrade the mechanical. It has to be a different standard because of that, because of having people there, transferring of air. You can't mix the air in certain areas. If you got in health department, you don't want the health department air necessarily mixing with. So there are some mechanical challenges that we will have to overcome, and that when it comes to HVAC in that building, which those all been identified.
I bet you, Scott, they pay a ridiculous amount for power.
I bet they do. I bet they do too. I don't know if the state has regulations on the usage. Systems will automatically turn things down and up and all that. I know the Bolton building over in Biloxi has got it's got DMR, it's got Secretary of State, it's got the Gaming Commission, it's got a lab back in the back that nobody knows about,
Right.
And that kind of stuff. And multiple agencies all in one building. Very efficient. I mean, and I'm in and out over there, and they're constantly changing locations. Somebody new and needs some space. Well, they'll move some people around and make space for somebody else.
That's right.
So I've got all kinds of cards and things that are supposed to open doors for me, but I can't ever remember to carry the cards with me.
That's right. Yeah. And that's one thing that's going to be big that we have coming up. We are remodeling on Maples, which is directly behind Pastor Elementary. There is a home that was given to the county many moons ago by a family, and they used to be the children's shelter. And then before me, it wasn't used anymore for that purpose. And so the IDD, which is intellectual disability, people in our community that need a little bit more help than others. They are currently over in Gulfport, and their building is just in bad shape. And so what we've done was we've taken that building it's a home, almost looks like a house on a corner. We've taken it and totally gutted it and building it all back brand new for them. And what they do there is it's a place for them to come and learn how to maybe cook, maybe make sandwiches, meet friends, find things that they're interested in, and it's really rewarding. And so it was good that we all, the board and the county, could come together and give them a new facility. Essentially, the shell will be older, but the inside will be new for those people to enjoy. There's a lot of land back behind it that they that they'll be able to enjoy, and that's going to be good. It's moving along pretty good.
Is it going to be residential or just a day place?
Just day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just a day place.
All right, we got. Let's see. Nathan said, Trey, I would have been, but I'm on my anniversary trip in Mexico right now.
Yes, he is.
Oh, come on. All right, and then we got Justin. Justin could have been on this podcast. I wish he just drove over. How about a new county courthouse on Seaway? LOL. I mean, we just flooded half the courthouse. Asbestos, cough, cough.
He is correct. It did flood. It did. The upstairs men's lavatory overflowed, and I guess it was an area where no one really knew or heard that it was overflowing until it leaked through the ceiling and flooded the vault downstairs where all the records are.
Oh,
Where Angela Thrash's office is, and all of her great employees there. And so it flooded the vault. A lot of records got wet, and so we had to bring in freezer trucks. That was the deal. You froze the wet records to salvage them. And so, yes, he is correct. They're doing a full remodel on 2 courtrooms, I believe. 2 courtrooms were affected, and the vault downstairs was affected by that. And so they're living through that right now. A new courthouse, you're talking.
This is your buddy Justin.
Yeah, I don't think that's in there. You're talking something $60-70 million bond, and that's just not feasible.
Say Justin, no. So guess what? St. Martin. Remember when we went to St. Martin together? They didn't have AC half the time. We just brought our own fans. So
yeah,
that's what I was telling you.
And I tell them, look, I'm the one. I just I'm just never big on debt. I just I think everything that we've had. And which I've had this conversation just recently with our CFO, Walt, does a great job, and our county administrator, Robbie. Not only for hurricane preparedness, for being ready with generators and things for the county itself, for buildings, and then also the constituents and how we're going to do what we're going to do with storm shelters and food distribution, but monetary. Like, how are we financially at the county if something like a Katrina hits again and we don't have the revenue, you don't have the money coming in, what kind of bonds, what do we have out there that we're obligated to? And we're in great shape there. I mean, there's no worries that, if we take another hit by a major hurricane, which I hope never happens, the county financially will be sound. There's no issue there.
So let's dive into the shelter. Let's go on.
Yeah.
You want to do a shelter on 67?
I do. I noticed in the east side in District 1 and Nathan in 5 to the far east, the only shelters that we use are schools. D'Iberville High would be the one in the vicinity that we use. And they're great partners. I mean, that's great that those schools were built to be able to use for shelters. But when you open those as shelters, it puts a burden on the school and the principal there. And it makes it hard if you want to do anything long term, because then you got kids that may be coming back to school. You still got people that are displaced. And so you're trying to mingle those two together. And so I just felt that we needed our own county-owned storm shelter in the east side of Harrison County. And so I did a lot of research. I looked around, just brainstorming, looking for ideas. And I landed on the storm shelter they built in Louisville, Mississippi. It is round in nature. It looks like a little Superdome. And and I think that would be a perfect fit. And not only would it be a storm shelter, it would be, I would like to put basketball goals in there. I would like for it to have pickleball opportunity. If someone wants to start a dodgeball league, I want the community to be able to use it for whatever they want to use it for.
Could you do
while it's sitting there.
weddings?
You could do weddings. It's pretty neat. It's round. Another thing that we don't have is also if you have pets. Pets are very important to people nowadays, more than they've ever been. And so some people will not go to a shelter and seek safety because they don't want to leave their pets. They don't want to leave their dogs. They don't want to leave their cats or whatever pet they have. And so on the back side of it would be a detached building with a breezeway, and that building would be where you could house pets. And so people would be able to come because you can't have the pets in the same location as the people. And that's a Red Cross. It's just kind of separating. But then those people who do not want to seek safety because of their pets now can. They can bring their pets, bring them in a kennel, and leave their pets in that building, and they will be able to walk back and forth to check on their pets.
Yeah.
And that's something else that we need that would be good.
What do you think about the idea?
It looks like he's got the answers for most everything that you can think about. I mean, really.
And then that building would also be when it's not used. We can. It could be rented. It could be used by the community as well for parties or storage or whatever it is.
Or I think the big thing is for you is having like, look, either I'm going to stay for the storm. Or I'm only going to stay for the storm.
Right.
But the people the last minute people.
Yeah.
That's perfect for them.
Yes.
That like I need to get out of here freaking out. Like I was talking to Grady about that today. It's like, I mean, I got this really cool flagpole, Ryobi. So anytime we have a storm,
yeah,
I'm firing that thing up. Like I'm ready. Batteries in charge. I'm just trying to cut down limbs.
Yeah.
But I think just going through a lot of hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to it. Like, I mean, we did at our house, we had a Zeta. We were out for 2.5 weeks, about two weeks of it, no AC.
Right.
It was okay. I mean,
yeah, you just muscle through.
Open the door and
that it's not going to be that way forever. So you just kind of accept it and
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, you're not getting your hot showers.
Right.
But there are people that go like, I'm gonna hold out. Maybe it's gonna change. And all of a sudden it's like, boom, traffic.
Right.
It's a perfect idea to get them people off the road.
Yes. And the idea of the location is by the DPS, which is the Highway Patrol Office where you get your driver's license on 67.
Oh yeah.
And so it would be
lots of land out there too. Yeah.
Right there along 67. And there's some of those during my research that when a severe weather alarm goes out, it automatically unlocks the door to that facility so people can run to it in the need.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat. So
Yeah.
if someone's from out of town driving down the road, they get a severe weather alert for a tornado and they see a sign that says something about storm shelter, and just if they happen to go up there and pull on the door, it would be open.
How many parking spots? What is the capacity of the idea of how many people you can house?
The round structure could house up to 2,200 people.
How about parking?
We would have, the parking in that area, the parking actually butts up to the Wool Market baseball fields. And so you not only would you have whatever we needed for parking there, you also have the overflow parking of the ball fields.
Would this storm shelter, would it have like, is it MREs? Am I saying right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it would be the Red Cross, and so yeah, they would have meals and things that Red Cross
showers.
Actually, yes, we looked at what we needed in there for showers. I pretty much went into detail as much as I could as what would you need long term in that facility with the bathrooms, showers, the storage, the room. Then you got when it's not being used for a storm shelter, the bleachers. The bleachers need to be able to pulled out from the sides and be able to push them back in, because if you have basketball, that's one thing we don't have at Wool Market as a basketball team. We have the gyms for the schools, but the schools use them, and then you're trying to do a basketball team, and the gym, it just got very convoluted from my understanding. And so if we had this, then that would just be Wool Market's home basketball team facility. You know,
I really like the multi-purpose use.
yes,
That really makes all the sense. I mean, you could sell this facility without it even being a disaster location, with all the different concepts that you've got to use it for.
yes, and the construction cost is lower because of the way it's built.
The dome.
The dome and the way they do it, it's pretty neat. They build the ring around the outside, and then they take basically like a balloon and they blow it up, and that creates your dome. And then they go over on the inside, and then they start laying concrete from the inside and all of the rebar, and they just form it to that dome. It's pretty neat to watch. It's a monolithic dome is what.
Yeah.
Would you put like outside restrooms and like, I mean, how many acres is this area?
I believe I did it on a program. I want to say just the building itself is it can all go on about 5 acres.
So you'd have outside restrooms, stuff like that, like to be if we'll entertain, like.
Yeah, if the outside building could, because the Wool Market facilities and the Boy Scouts in Wool Market right now, they're in trailers. They're just trailers up off the ground, and eventually those are just going to rot. And so the idea was that the building where we would house the pets, that can double as where the Boy Scouts could go, and the Wool Market baseball or basketball leagues, they can have their meetings. So that's kind of what those would double as. So yes, you would have access to restrooms even in that outside building where the pets would essentially go for a storm.
Is this still in concept, or is it happening?
Yes. No, it's in concept. It's on Roger Wicker's side. They've called and have moved it up for funding, but it hasn't been X-nayed yet. And so,
I think it's pretty badass.
yeah, and it's needed over there. We just, not to say that we don't have a place for people to go if there's a storm, but if the county can control the key to it, then people who get displaced by water or displaced because their house is gone, if they need a little bit more time to get things back together, then we have a place for them to do that.
Yeah.
Think about growth though too. Here's another thing too is, I've been here for 8-9 years, and like Lorraine, for instance, like the traffic.
Yeah,
I could tell you more people here. I grew up in Latimer. You can't get. The traffic. You blink 5 years. You said 2,200 people could stay there. We're gonna need it. Like there's so many people moving here. It's outrageous.
Yeah,
and we're continuing with growth, like growth. You just came by. You're here, and you're like, they're building stuff here.
Yeah,
and it's not going to stop. So it's like we do need more than just the D'Iberville facilities. The high school facilities, but we need more. We have to need more because I always say like I always talk to people when they panic about the hurricane. They're like, I'm going to hit 67. I'm like, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, on my way to work, I used to take Cal in the rain to 90 and go to work, and now I find myself that was to avoid 49 because 49 was. But now I find myself going down 49 because Cal in the rain is the traffic is a lot.
It's bad
in the morning. It's a lot.
His sunglasses. These are my sunglasses. This is Zach Grady's sunglasses.
He left them.
Yeah, he's in here right now. It said Dan the Man.
Yeah, Zach's been awesome, and I heard, in his podcast, Zach called me. That's where we originally became friends. Was he called me because he wanted to coach his son, and where they were at previously there was an issue, and he wasn't going to be able to coach his son, and he called me and he was like, "Look, I'm just finding out there's an opportunity in Wool Market for my son, and possibly an opportunity for me to coach him." And I said, I don't know how fast you can get here, but come on. And that's how we had our first conversation.
He so you look at like he was talking to a little bit about like ball fields, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Having open up more for kids. Similar thing with you with basketball and other
Right.
youth sports. I'm a big believer that if it's taxpayer dollars, grant money, I think facilities should be open to kids playing all the sports.
Mm-hmm.
I do not believe in travel, like hold it for travel ball. I don't believe in that shit.
No.
I believe in if you built a multi-million-dollar facility with taxpayer money,
Mm-hmm.
it should be open all week long for kids.
Correct.
And I will stand and fight on that because you're giving like the kids, like, this gets them outside of the house. This gets them off video games.
You know where they're at.
Yeah.
You know what they're doing.
And they're getting inspired. Coach Dan, they're like, oh, and then change their whole life.
Yes.
I will tell you right now, if anything is built with tax dollars, sports facilities, whatever, you do not hold that for certain travel ball. I don't care if the grass will get ruined. You didn't pay for that grass. You didn't pay for it. Taxpayers paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to check that real quick. I mean, that's
Yeah, and all of it's our money. Whether you get it from grant, you get it from Washington D.C. grant money, it doesn't matter. All
Sure.
of it's our money. At one point,
Sure
it came
is.
from all of us. I mean, some way, somehow, the money those funds just don't fall out the sky. They take them from all of us.
Except for some of it they print in Washington.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, but with the ball fields, I really did hurt my feelings. It was brought up, and Zach. One thing I love about Zach is he's all about the youth.
Oh yeah.
And you ain't taking that from Zach. You're not taking that away. So I was telling him, I was like, dude, I'm already kind of fired up a little bit. I'm fired up about it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wait, this is a multi-million-dollar complex, and it's locked sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's go back and see why is it locked.
Yeah.
Because then you're just having a multi-million-dollar. This is not your private ball field.
Correct. It's not a private facility.
No.
And I'm always like, and I speak for Wool Market as being a part of the board up there. And shout out to everyone on the Wool Market board. They do a marvelous job. There's every one of them has taken their roles and has run with them as like it was their full-time job, and they do a great job. But we are a youth league organization for kids in the community, and it will always be about the kids in the community. That's the only purpose of the ball fields is for the kids in the community. And we have to make hard decisions sometimes for what's best for the kids. May not be what's best for the parents, and sometimes parents don't understand that for me, I'm not much of a baseball sports person. Me being on the board there was not so much about me being a great coach. I'm going to be the biggest proponent for the kids. And if it's not right for the kids, it's not happening. It's not happening. And if anyone wants to do anything other than what's right for the kids, well, then they can come in there and try and replace me as president of baseball. But until then, it's about the kids, 100%.
And that's the same way Zach Grady feels about it.
Exactly.
It's all about the kids, Zach. Zach's all about the kids. I think that makes him such a very likable politician. I'm so proud of him. But like, it's serious that he's like, it's not about Zach. It's about the kids.
Yeah, 100%.
Community. And I think any development, anything that any youth can get access to, and because we don't ever know what's going on in the household.
No.
And so I'm going to go to the ball fields and I want to be the next Sammy Sosa. I want to be the next Mark McGuire.
That's
Mark
right.
McGuire.
Yeah, Mark McGuire.
Yeah. He was not on steroids. Okay.
No. Okay.
And that's the what I call the bookends. You got the youth and the kids of our society, and then you have on the other end is and I don't use the word seniors or seasoned people who have done their time. They've been coaches. They've paid taxes, and they're on the other end. And that's our the senior services that we provide through the county that I think sometimes is underutilized. And again, a shout out to the senior services. They do a great job. Jeff Clark and his team. But we offer our senior centers. They do all kind of things, and it's free. They go places. They go to Alabama and go to the roll throwing place. They go to Louisiana and go on alligator tours. There's ceramics they do. I mean, there's a plethora of things they do, and there's 7 of them throughout the county. And now we help people we give them lifts. If they don't have access to get a ride to the grocery store or get their prescriptions or their doctor's appointments, we give those people rides. And so we're constantly, Jeff and his team are constantly looking for ways how we can service our seniors more than we currently do. But sometimes we feel like not everyone knows about the senior centers and what they have to offer. And so every time I'm able to give them their props and try and plug to tell someone, if you have a mother, if you have a friend or someone, to look into them. They do shuffleboard, they play ping pong, they have pool leagues. I mean, it's crazy the things that they do.
How can they find? Is there a website they can get to?
Yeah, they can go to the Harrison County website and go to senior services. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's amazing how much that they have to offer for people to do. And instead of sitting at home, that's the worst thing. It's, someone that just, maybe not have any family here and sits at home and just doesn't even have any really quality of life. And if they're able to find that and have some quality of life, that's what it's about.
How do you, since you've been you've been in your position, what's been the pros and cons of that?
I don't have any cons. There are no cons. I went in this full force, kind of coming from corporate America. I personally held myself to a standard within the company, being held accountable very young in my age, in my career, not looking for excuses why something can't get done. You always had to find a way to do it. You had to be dependable. When someone called and said, "Hey man, I have this issue, I have this problem," or, "Hey, look, I know this might not be possible, but I need this done in 3 days." You didn't offer any excuses. That was not an option. You figured it out. You got it done. And so when I came to the county after living that life for 25 years, I felt I was prepared, still am prepared to be able to make hard decisions and do what we need to do to move that needle for the constituents of Harrison County. That's what we're supposed to do. And so I have no cons. The pros is being able to help people. You're able to directly help someone, and even the small things where someone on Facebook will say, "Look, I got a problem with my garbage can. The wheel fell off and it's been a month and I can't get it fixed. Just give me a minute. I can fix that for you." Just even those small things make me happy that you can help someone, even with the smallest things, because you don't know what that person's going through at that moment. And, to them, that's a big thing. It may not be big to me. It's just a tire on a garbage can. But to them, it could be a big thing. And so,
I can tell you a tire on a garbage can is a big thing.
That's right.
When you're trying to haul it to the street and back.
So if I can help them, what may seem like not a big deal to me, I'm glad that I'm able to help them with just a garbage can.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you're so passionate about it.
Yeah,
I mean, in this room, you can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard. That's the thing. I guess if you have it and you know that you can do it and you're confident in it, it's not hard to help people.
Looking at the future, okay, we're hitting on the new facility on Seaway. That's in play right now. We got 4 acres. Probably try to bring everybody together so efficiently save money.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be y'all's goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting down from the podcast. And the shelter, and then also it could be like a multi-use area for Wool Market, basketball, but also people that want to go down that road and get stuck in the traffic, they can go dip off.
That's right.
And be safe. You never want to be in a car when a storm comes.
No,
I don't care who you are. You don't want to be in a car. That's cool. And then you're talking about the seniors and they're being able to, do activities. And there's a lot of fun stuff, things I didn't even know about.
Yes.
So that's something you're passionate about. So that's really respectful. Like that makes a person that's, a taxpayer or, part of the community to see these are positive things going on in the community.
That's correct. Those are, yes, all of our centers, Miss Sarah, and all the centers, they're all free. The people that come through those doors that are, they do not have to pay anything. I mean, they're for the most part, but they come to those centers and there's always something going on. Each one of the centers has a director and they put together the month and what they want to do, and people come in and just enjoy it.
It's interesting. We've sitting here for an hour or so now. We've had this conversation, and none of the conversation was Chamber of Commerce talk. We're building a new highway. We're building this. Everything that we've talked about is focused on people.
Yes. That's what people see. You want to take care of the people. Yeah, the roads and the commerce and things, and those affect a certain amount of people. But when you can do something that can affect the majority of the people, those are the things that really bring home.
Yeah, the idea of your facility that's still in concept reminds me. I kind of grew up in the Y, just at the gym, but I also lifeguarded and did stuff, so I was always there. And it's a kind of a place where kids could come. It didn't have to be formal.
Right.
They could just show up and they could go in the gym and shoot balls, or they could go down on the other end and do some gymnastics, or they could go swimming. Now, you're not going to have all those facilities, but the idea of Jordan's idea of having it open and available, you're going to have to staff it
To be able to have kids
to be able to do that kind of stuff. But it could have very, very, very good multiple uses.
Yes,
Because that place was a home for a whole lot of kids.
I would say for me would be I'm not, I would just say like cut out a bunch of the buildings that are costing too much money.
Yes.
And get rid of them, put them on the 4 acres, shrink everything down, have a compound, saving fuel, and it's easier to walk. You don't have to have like I got to go meet over here.
That's right.
You walk out, you go to another building, and then you cutting costs as you develop Seaway.
Yeah,
and then you make it their like command center, and that will cut. And then you can free up extra money on water bills, electricity, maintenance. Then you can pay for people salary wise to manage the baseball field that it's always locked. You can
reappropriate the money that you're saving,
and they can always have like lawn care then. Like I said, Zach, I hope you're not mad at me about this. I know you were, this me and you talked outside of podcasting, but it was something that I was so proud of when he talked about it. I'm like fired up.
Yeah,
like I'm like no, nobody locks that gate. Like nobody locks that gate, and it's for the youth. So it's like you can make everything into 4 acres. You're cutting. I mean, there's so many buildings. I mean, there's buildings everywhere that Harris County owns, and it costs them millions.
There are a lot of buildings. When I came on, one thing that I did was I went to the GIS, Harrison County GIS, and I just punched in Harrison County Board of Supervisors, and I scrolled all of Harrison County. I wanted to see where every piece of property that was assigned to Harrison County, and just doing your homework on it. And some of it's just raw land, but with those buildings, we recently speaking about saving money in insurance. It was they did a pool. A group of us are in a pool now to save money on insurance, which was Gulfport, us, Hancock County. There's a few of us, and that was all of us trying to find avenues to save money. All of them along the coast are doing their due diligence to find a place to save money. It's our taxpayers' money. The last thing we're going to do is waste it. As far as I'm concerned, we're going to find ways to save money where we can, and buildings is one of them.
So we got Kenny Glavins in here.
Yeah.
The county has a program through CTA to provide seniors needing transportation to doctors, appointments, pharmacy, grocery shopping, etc. free. Keep it going, Dan. Kenny's
Shout out to
also
Kenny.
another the Biloxi politician.
Yeah, Kenny's a great guy. Kenny's
Got a big heart too.
yes, sir. Yes, he does.
So, you see this, guys, and that's like, this is the whole idea behind this podcast. I mean, it's more educational, but it's things you need to know about. So, like, this is why I love that. Like, this is part 2.
Yeah.
I know you got to get your boys and stuff. It's been awesome to have you on.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I'm glad I can share things that are going in the county that, maybe people don't know or just by chance heard and now take full advantage of it. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
If you need, guys, you reach out to Dan anytime you want.
Anytime.
He's available. And I want to say thank y'all. And it's talking about insurance. I'm going to go ahead and drop. So another thing, too, is the Pink Dress Run is October 18th, downtown Gulfport. We raised over $500,000 for breast cancer for our city in Harris County, which the county owns half the hospital anyways. But this is important. This is a big event for us. And I launched the tickets June 1st. They're out, pinkdressrun.com. If you type in the user code early bird, you save $5. And all that money when you buy a ticket does not go for us. It goes to the hospital. So sign up. It's going to be a great event. And if you need insurance, Oliver's got insurance. That's where we're at. Let me go see if I got my media here. But I just want to say I love you. And this is my son. I'm so proud of him. Oliver Scott is his name. But I love you guys. And thank you so much for supporting the show.
We offer home, auto, commercial, builders, reps, and life insurance.
Oliver's good.
Oliver Scott is rich.
Sure.